Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Small Success Podcast. I'm Pam Downing, Marketing and Operations Strategist at Larison Media, and I'm here with Drew Larison.
How's everybody doing?
And you guys, we are so excited because today on Small Success, this is our first ever guest episode, and we are here with two very special guests. Ladies, would you introduce yourselves?
Yes. Hi, I'm Stephanie Beck, and I am the marketing manager at Community First Bank in Kokomo.
And I am Allison Hopkins. I'm the marketing assistant at Community First Bank.
Great. We are so glad to have you guys here with us today. And we are really going to focus in on marketing. We have experts with us. We have Drew Larison with us.
Whatever that means. I'm here.
Whatever that
I don't know
means.
about experts, but
So first, we want to learn a little bit about you. So tell us about yourselves and how you landed in your current role. Stephanie, specifically with you, how did you end up in marketing with Community First?
yeah, well, so I'm born and raised here in Kokomo, and actually the funny thing is Drew and I went to high school together at Northwestern High School, so go Tigers.
Purple Pride.
Yeah, Purple Pride. So born and raised here in Kokomo, went here locally to IUK and went into business marketing, and then I worked at Bath & Body Works for like 10 years. People don't realize how long I worked there. They just always like saw me with an apron on.
Yes.
Yeah, Bath & Body Works.
I'm sure I saw you there.
Yeah, you probably did. I probably put lotion on your hands or something.
Yes.
What a weird past connection.
I know, right?
That's probably true.
People literally walk up to me and they're like, "Hey, I know you," and I'm like, "I usually wear aprons, and you probably put lotion on."
I usually smell good.
Yeah,
You like have an apron, you put it on. Oh yeah, it's you.
that's it. Yeah, so I worked there for about 10 years, and then I went into selling insurance for State Farm. Super glamorous, awesome job. And then kind of decided that I wanted to get out of sales. So I think that's a big point, as sales and marketing are very different things.
Okay.
And then because I had my background in marketing, Casey Zeck, actually at Community First, told me that there was a job opening for the assistant position. And so I decided to take a leap of faith, quit my job, joined Community First, and the rest is history. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And Allison, how about you? What's your background in marketing?
Yeah, so I went to IU Kokomo as well, and so I actually just graduated in May.
Oh,
Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. So I graduated with a marketing degree, and then I have an art minor, so it's kind of focused in new media. And so I worked part-time at the YMCA in their marketing department, and then when I graduated, I got hired on at Community First.
Okay. Great. Well, we're really glad you guys are here. Interested to pick your brain about a couple things today. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, why do you love marketing? What about marketing works? What about marketing drew you to it?
I'll go first. So the funny thing is that when I started going to IUK, I did not want anything to do with business. I was a healthcare industry, thought I could be a nurse.
Okay.
I quickly found out that blood is not my thing. I have a very queasy stomach, so that was not a good call.
To be clear, I don't think blood is anyone's thing.
Yeah,
Some just have a higher
sometimes it is.
tolerance than
Yeah.
others.
Well,
Yeah.
my tolerance is like negative.
I'm with you.
It's
Yeah, but
so bad.
yeah.
So, and the reason why I bring up that I worked at Bath & Body Works for so long is because my manager there really, really shaped my mind and really encouraged me in really positive ways to explore different avenues for my future career. So she really taught me about customer service and just kind of going the extra mile and really like personalizing people's experiences with you. So, yeah, she really pushed me into that. And then when I went into insurance, that was also a really cool way because I was able to help people in really tough situations and help them save some money and really try to be a resource for them. So I would say like those previous positions that I had really shaped where I wanted to go with my career. And so when I was in college, I took like an intro to marketing class, and that completely changed me, talked to me, spoke to my inner being.
Yes.
And just was like, this is what I'm meant to do. Like, because I think marketing is so diverse and it's just always changing. And I love that because I don't want to do something that's the same thing every day, you know? So I feel like the marketing avenue that I took was really good because it enables me to be creative and to put my own personal twist on things. And I would say like just my past experiences really pushed me into that direction. So I love how creative and how much freedom you can get from marketing.
Yeah.
A common denominator I heard all your other past jobs were very people oriented.
Yes, I'm a people person.
I think we were joking around before we started recording, like you worked at a Bath and Body Works and you put lotion on people's hands.
I know. It's like a random thing, right?
That's not, but like in my head, it's very serving. Like you're serving people in
Mm-hmm.
that way, and you said your manager helped you, nail down like what you like serving for people inside that job. So, but then you worked for insurance, you said. You loved helping people.
Yeah.
Like that, the people is the common denominator I kept hearing, which is interesting because, like I think the best type of marketing is when you look at the people you're trying to advertise or market to, not just data and numbers behind the people.
Yeah.
So that could be a common denominator right there.
I'm a big people person. If I can talk or be with someone, I'm going to do it. I'd rather do that than look at data all day long on my computer, but that's just me.
Which in the banking world, there's a lot of data.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So finding
I like
that
to
fine
say
line.
that I have the best job in the bank because I'm not stuck looking at numbers and counting money all day long. Like I get to go out and be with people and sit on podcasts with great hostess. Aww. Isn't that sweet?
I need an awe button. That makes the awe.
Allison, how about you? What drew you to marketing?
So, I think my biggest pull is more on the art side.
Okay.
So when I was little, I was super shy and I wouldn't talk to anyone or kind of like break out of my shell or anything. And my mom signed me up for art lessons and I like threw a fit. I was like, I'm not going. I don't want to talk to anyone. But on the other side, it like was something that interested me a lot. And so, I went and they were just like once a week and I started like talking to more people and getting used to like other kids and that kind of thing. And then I also got to like develop this talent in something that I really loved. So all through school, in high school, I would take art classes. And then when I got to college, I was like, I don't really see me doing this as a career per se, but I was like, how can I incorporate this into a job? And so I went down the marketing path because I am really good with numbers and kind of that analytical side. But my passion is more of that like loose and artsy kind of side. And so I went ahead and minored in graphic design. And then I did an internship at the Y and I found I could do this. I could do the marketing side, but I could also kind of have an outlet for something I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And so making print pieces, making ads, coming up with new ways to promote things. I love, that's my absolute favorite part.
No, this is a great point, and this brings about like an interesting part of marketing is that there are so many different legs to marketing. There is that creativity, there is that service aspect and the people piece. Drew, how about you? What drew you to marketing?
I wasn't expecting
I'm putting
me to
you
get asked
totally on the
questions
spot.
today.
Yes.
Jeez. What drew me to marketing, I guess kind of like the origin story. I was that classic 20-year-old, maybe 19, had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, like type of person. I read, I had a mentor-ish type of guy that gave me a book to read. It's the cheesiest title of all time. It's called Crush It. Let that soak in for a minute.
I love it.
Yeah, it was called Crush It. And basically it was telling the story about in the world we're in with social media. And guys, this was like 9...
Yeah, I'm thinking this is like 2009, 2010.
Something like that. It was right after it was like first year of college. It was basically this book from this guy giving stories of people that are using this thing called the internet and social media to build their dream lives. And like, there's no excuse in the world we're in to do something you hate anymore.
Sure.
The classic example they always use in the book was, let's say you love the Smurfs. You just love those little blue people, and like that's your passion in life is that show and everything like that. It's completely possible, and he had the case study. I'll probably find the blog later for you. Some person writes a blog about the Smurfs, sells ads on that blog about the Smurfs. He sells like figurines or whatever, and he's literally making a living with a Smurf blog, and like he's living his best life making this Smurf blog. So that was like the extreme example, but it was very true. We're living in a time, where you can do anything you want to be happy with what you're doing and make a job out of it. So that just dove into the world of social media marketing. I've always been I kind of am a geekish type of person. I like technology. I like that techie side of the world we're in. Apple fanboy, type of person. Loved people, always an extremely extroverted type of human being. In high school, you found me in like the front row of the student section, type of person.
True story,
that was,
I saw it.
Gish Tank represent, you know.
Weird t-shirts. It was intense.
But like, it's so funny. Like looking back, I was in charge of those t-shirts, and that was kind of my first business. I helped design those t-shirts.
Interesting. Oh
I like hustled the hallways. I know. And
all of this.
and it was one of those things I didn't realize later. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was doing this in high school, and I didn't realize it because I was selling t-shirts to make a cool student section.
And you did that for fun.
Yeah, I did, and sold the heck out of them. Hustled the hallways. It was great. But you know, so I've always been extroverted. I love people. I like technology, and like my entrepreneurship is in my blood, literally.
Yeah.
My father was an entrepreneur. Grandfather is an entrepreneur. His father was a farmer, which is a heck of an entrepreneur. So I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur. So if all those things combined, I found social media, and I found marketing inside of social media. And that's kind of what was the origin of where I am today.
Very cool. Okay, you guys, give me some examples of how you've seen marketing work. This can be as specific as, well, I can think of an example off the top of my head. There's an organization in the community that did a 5K. They marketed it. People showed up. That is an example of how marketing has worked.
Sure.
Yeah, we can kind of really, in the same community efforts. I was talking with Allison about this earlier today. Like we've done, it's called Dunk a Banker. And we basically came up with this idea 3 years ago, and we just were like, we need to raise some money. At the time, it was for Habitat for Humanity. And so we found a dunk tank, and we said, okay, we're going to put employees in this dunk tank, and we're going to do it during the Strawberry Festival that's downtown. So there's going to be tons of people. And then we're going to amp it up on social media. I'm going to post who's going to be in the dunk tank and what time, and really amp it up and use social media. And that's all I did.
Yeah.
So we had our first year, and it was so successful. I think we raised just over $1,200.
Wow.
And we did a full day at the Strawberry Festival, just charged people to throw the balls and just raising money for Habitat. So then like the next year we were like, okay, that worked really well. So we did it again. Well, then this year we did it for the third time, and I should have said this earlier, but we opened it up to business owners as well. So it's not just employees that are in the dunk tank, but we opened it up to have business leaders in there too. And that opened up a whole new ball game, because then they were sharing that they were going to be in the dunk tank, and like word of mouth type marketing just kind of grew and exploded. And then this year we maxed out what we've ever done and raised almost $2,000 with our Dunk a Banker. So it was just really cool, because I mean, word of mouth is a huge piece of marketing. Referrals are great. And then social media, like I said, like all we did was do a few posts, and all it takes is a few posts sometimes, and you can just blow something out of the water and accomplish your goals. So that's always really cool when you can see, like, I just did a little post on Facebook and said, hey, we're doing this. Come hang out with us. Check this out. Help us raise money. And then it just blew up from there. And I think that's fun to see.
I got asked to do that dunk tank next year, by the way.
Yep.
Yes.
Great. Yep. That'll be fun.
Hey. We will buy all the throws to dunk.
It's
so like good company therapy if you're ever mad at me about something. Hold it all in until that day.
We had our president in for the first time this year, because he's always on a trip to Canada during the Strawberry Festival, but this year it got canceled. So we took every opportunity to get him in the dunk tank, and we did. And I paid extra just so I could walk up and hit the lever, because did you know you could do that, Drew? You could just pay $10 just to walk up and hit it.
It should be at least 50.
Yeah, it was a good little release of frustration.
Yeah, this question's interesting in general, and honestly, we talked about this in another podcast. Who knows when that one will be coming out? But you say that worked. That could mean so many different things.
Yeah.
You know, marketing isn't just one goal. You know, you can be using marketing for a lot of different goals. Like we have clients that, you know, come to us. So we ask this in every kickoff call. We're like, what are some KPIs, key performance indicators you're really looking for our service to do? Some people are just like, I just don't have time, you know, and I need help, like creating content and posting content. Other people are like, I want to see leads. I want to see, you know, cost of lead down. Like they're very specific. Other people are, I just want more reviews. We have like no online presence. So, I mean, it's so different, you know, for every company. Which I feel like the more we do this podcast, that answer is insanely common that there isn't just one answer, for every
You
problem.
got to determine what success will look like for you and
Yeah.
your business. Like you said,
Well,
what
and
are
so
your
many different
KPIs?
levels of it.
Exactly.
Like, so let's say that person is coming like, well, I want more leads. Okay, how many are you expecting? So there's different levels of that. The questions keep going. So we obviously have stories where somebody wanted, direct leads through social media. And so we're setting up ad campaigns for that. And we're getting them 20 to 50 leads a month below, cost per lead around $15 when the service is over 100, there's different stories of that all day. Some success of us marketing is, we're creating custom content and pushing it out there. And that's working for that client.
Sure.
So it's
and
an
for
interesting
some
question.
people, success for them just looks like we want to establish our brand.
Exactly.
And this leads into my next question for you two is, a diner who may be DIYing their marketing, their brand, their online presence, and what looks successful to them is going to be very different from the brand of a bank or a financial institution. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the things that make the banking industry unique when it comes to marketing?
Yeah. So I think most people, when they think of banks, they know we're dealing with a lot of compliance and a lot of restrictions.
Sure.
But the great thing about being with a local community bank is I still have to abide by those rules, but I have a lot of freedom in how I decide to market different things. But one of the biggest challenges is that banks across the board offer the same thing.
Yeah.
That's really, it's the hard thing and it's the hard truth about what we do. Everyone offers a checking account, a savings account. You can get a home loan. You can get a money market. You can do all those things. So it gets really challenging when the bank down the street is literally offering the same thing. However, you've got to come up with different ways that makes yours different. So right now we offer a free gift with a checking account. The bank down the street may not be doing that.
Sure.
So we try to come up with different things and different promotions that will help entice someone to bank with us. But as far as marketing goes, as much as our product stays stagnant, it's kind of fun because we just have to come up with fresh and exciting ways to market those checking accounts and those savings accounts. So it can be really challenging. But I think that also is what makes us unique because like a diner, you said they're doing their own marketing. Well, they could do a video of what the diner looks like.
Sure.
Or they could do a video of a chef preparing a meal or post a customer service experience. Like there's different ways you can do it. But I think like with banking, our products don't change very much.
Yeah.
So we've got to really kind of come up with a way to make it more exciting. Like make a checking account sound super fun to have.
Yeah.
Like you gotta,
You can put your money in there.
you gotta have it.
Well, and that's where like the creativity comes into play and
yeah.
having that background and approaching it through that lens instead of just super sterile
Yeah.
and informational.
Right. And I was telling Allison, like, gosh, marketing, like I said earlier, it changes so much. Like it's different from when I graduated and Allison just graduated.
Yep.
So she's got really fresh and a really good perspective on things. And I think that's going to be really great for us because she's going to be able to push out that creativity. So I'm really excited.
It's interesting. I just got an email. You might have actually had them. The professor at IUK, Professor Rink.
Yep.
I love Professor
Yeah,
Rank.
he
Shout out
emailed
to
me.
Professor Rank.
Yeah, sounds like I've never met him in person. We just talked through email. But he's asked me to come and speak in a few of his classes, and he was just very upfront in that conversation. He's like, I don't really know anything about social media. Like the textbooks, we have like a few chapters are social media, and like that's it. And it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. And like you just got out of college,
Right.
so you know what I'm talking about.
No, we
That
would
should
have
be half the book in my head. Like
Yeah.
digital
Yeah.
should be
It's
half or more than
everything now.
half of the book, and it's a few chapters, and like that's it. So he's asking me to come in and speak. Another thing we were talking about. Does anybody watch Mad Men? You've watched Mad Men. Okay, you might already know what the scene I'm going for. Then there's this amazing scene, which Mad Men, if you don't know, it's a fantastic show on AMC. It's the only show I feel like made for marketers because it's all about the admin in the 60s back in New York City. Fantastic show. Don Draper will always be the death of me because I always root for him and he always lets me down, but that's fine. That's another podcast. But so there's this client meeting inside of Mad Men, and it's a tobacco company They come in, and it's right around the time where like the Surgeon General warnings are coming out. Like maybe this tobacco thing isn't great, but they're really having this meeting, and what they're coming to like is like, we can't say anything that not everybody else is saying too. Like we don't have anything unique to set us apart during this time where the Surgeon General warning is coming out, and they're like, we're about to give up, like literally about to leave the agency because like they got nothing new. Don Draper, the superhero creative man that he is, swoops in. He's like, all right, explain the process. How do you create your tobacco?
Right.
So they go through this process and they're talking and, well, I don't know, we grow it in the sunshine of Kentucky, blah, blah, blah. And then we toast it. And then he's like, wait, toasted. Well, yeah, you go through this, you toast after it's, harvested, you toast the tobacco. He's like, there it is. It's toasted. He's like, well, everybody else is toasted as well. He's like, but they're not saying it. There's your difference. And like, that's the mic drop moment in the episode.
Boom.
And they do this It's Toasted campaign, and it's huge. I think it's Lucky Strike, which is like an actual old brand that used to make like cigarettes back in the day. But that's what I'm thinking. Like that's in the banking world, what you're talking about. Everyone has the same stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone has a checking account. Everyone has a saving account option. But finding that little differentiation that maybe really isn't that much different, but finding it and talking about it when nobody else is talking about it.
Right.
And I think the big thing for you guys, because I see you locally, you have the word community in your business name.
Yeah.
You are so intentional about doing things in the community, doing things for the community. And honestly, there might be some banks that are doing that stuff too, but if anything, you're doing a better job showing it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And like expressing it and showing it that you're out there and doing stuff for the community. Like that's your It's Toasted moment of there.
Good point.
So I don't know. That episode just popped into my head.
Yeah.
Like, because it makes a lot of sense.
I think that what you just kind of go off what you just said is that like we try to make things extremely personal at our bank as well. Like you are not just an account number, just another checking account. Like we want to know who you are. We want to know your name. We want to know your story. We want to know everything. Like just talk to us. It's all about conversations. And I think that's one of the things that really sets us apart. And then, like you said, the community piece, like we are just very intentional about it. And I think with any business, I think it kind of goes like, just think about what makes you different. And like you said, it can be the smallest thing and it can be something that everyone else is doing, but they're just not saying it.
Messaging it and putting it out there in the right way.
So I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, so as every small business owner knows, we all face challenges, and especially when it comes to marketing. So what are some of the challenges that you've experienced with marketing, especially in a bank? And would you walk us through those challenges and also how you found ways to overcome those?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, banking, we have lots of restrictions. We have to be compliant, and we've got actually a compliance officer that makes sure that Allison and I stay in line. She looks over everything. And so we always have to like slap a disclosure on it, the bottom of an ad. And, there's all these legalities that you have to do. And that's just the way it is. And I would rather be safe than sorry.
Yes. So
it's just trying to find ways that you can still be legal and still be compliant, but still get your message across. The mortgage side of our bank is really tough. So like to market, because we might have a really great interest rate, but I'm not allowed to put the interest rate on the ad. Like, so I've got to find a different way to say, hey, we've got a great rate without actually giving the rate away. And then that can be really hard. But
is that due to, because if people come to you, that rate isn't for sure for them.
Right.
Okay,
the rates can change.
Car dealership
on a dime.
world has that same type of thing, because if your credit
Exactly.
score is top, maybe that's what it is. But if it's lower, okay.
Yeah. So that part can be really tough, because you don't want to put something out there and then someone comes in and that's not quite right.
Then you just have an angry person.
Because you're in trouble. Yeah. So that can be really challenging with our marketing. So we just have to sometimes just do straight branding type ads. And that's what you'll see mostly that we do is just general branding, because we don't want to be too specific on certain things. So our goal is to get you through the door, and then we can have those conversations and look at your specific situation and talk about what options we have for you. So, the compliance part, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. And every bank, and any kind of financial institution, like you said, car dealerships, like we all have those issues. So it's just trying to find how can you work with it. For us, we just kind of slap the disclosure on at the bottom, but we want you to come in and we want to talk to you about what we're have on the ad. So
It's interesting too. I feel like the banking industry, maybe I don't want to say more than any other, but definitely up there to top. The internet has pushed the banking industry to be more innovative than a lot of other industries.
Sure.
Because you look at everybody has to have an app now, or everybody, having something online banking is you have to have that. Compared to there's still boutiques out there that don't have e-commerce and people aren't freaking out about it. Obviously the business is probably not doing as well as it could with e-commerce, but bare minimum, there has to be an app these days. So the world, your consumers are pushing banking a lot compared to other industries right now to have those innovative tools.
Right.
How have you guys handled that situation? I mean, I personally know, but explain it, how it's worked in house and the conversations that have taken place on how the internet has really disrupted your industry a lot.
Oh, it's definitely interrupted because I see commercials on the TV about different instant banks, instant mortgage applications, those types of things. And I think when you're dealing with a local community bank, we're not a nationally known bank, so we might be a little bit behind on some technology. But that doesn't mean that those conversations aren't happening. So we do have an online presence, an online application process. So take note that those things are happening, even if you don't see them necessarily right away. I would say the internet has really caused us to. Here's the thing. I'm having an epiphany.
Break it down.
So 16 years ago when we opened the bank, we relied completely on print and word of mouth. That's what it was. And radio. We did a lot of radio too. You cannot do that way anymore. And I think that's with any organization or company. You've got to be innovative and you've got to roll with what's happening right now. So with the internet boom and the social media and the digital advertising, we've just kind of had to be okay, so we're just going to make the big switch. And you change your mindset. And it's been really hard for people that have been with the bank for a long time because they're like, well, this always worked. We have to do it this way. And it's no.
It's comfort is what that's called.
It is. Yeah. So with marketing, like we've said earlier, you just got to be kind of willing to roll with the punches and make those changes. And like I said, we're not going to be like Chase. We're not going to be like Bank of America or Fifth Third Bank or those larger big banks. We're going to be like Community First. And so you may not get everything technology-wise that you're wanting right this second, but we are rolling with the punches, and it's a slow process sometimes.
It's interesting too, because I feel like the consumer, they're so out of it what it actually takes for mobile app, for example, or something like that. They're like just
2 years.
They're like, just build an app. That's the consumer's mindset. They don't understand the cost of it, the management of it, what actually goes into having a mobile app for a bank.
Yeah.
So have any marketing messaging kind of explaining that to people, or is that more in-house when they're coming in? Kind of just setting hey, we're working on it, but it's not just snap our fingers and it's there.
I don't know about what we did because this was prior to me when the mobile banking app rolled out. But now it's just education about what our app can do for you. A lot of people don't realize all the different features. A lot of people don't know that we even have an app, which is kind of weird to me because I'm you all wanted an app. We've got it. Here it is. Take it.
Why don't you have an app? Sir, we've had one for 17 years.
Yeah, excuse me. But, so it's education to our customers. And if they come in and they're just hey, what do you have this? Do you have that? We sit down with them and we kind of go over, we sure do. And then this is the benefit and this is what you can do with this and that. But I think people kind of miss that as much as we like things to be instant in this day and age, some things just aren't. And technology is just something that with a small business or with a local company, sometimes it just takes time.
Sure.
And you have to be willing to be patient as an organization, be this is our goal. This is what we want. We're just going to have to take some steps to get there. And in the meantime, we can kind of assure our customers, both internally and externally, that we're working on it and just bear with us. Because I think that's part of what you get when you work with a local company. Like we're not, like I said, we're not Chase Bank, who has an entire tech floor, you know.
Probably a few of them.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what their tech support looks like. But we don't have a number of employees working on building an app in their back room.
And that's such a line. And this is small business in general. Like business owners listening to this, they can relate to this in some sort of way, you know, because really what we like to say is like we help people stay relevant in this world. Some people call it marketing, but really our goal is like help people stay relevant. And really you break down that word relevant. Relevant really means changing your business process, whatever systems it is, to meet the expectations of the modern consumer, you know, like that type of world. So like I said, if it is, maybe it's a restaurant, and maybe an expectation of a modern consumer this day is like, yeah, I can get delivery because you have delivery food companies. But then like I saw like the other day, Outback is delivering now, like, and they've got a little Outback mobile and it drives around Kokomo delivering things. So, I mean, you're setting that expectation of, what can be delivered and it's cheap and I don't have to worry about, you know, that type of thing. Using the boutique example again, it's a consumer expectation. There's some sort of, I can buy online, you know, so it's finding that expectation of that modern consumer, doing your best to hit it, or if it's not there, explaining it at least. Here's why it's not. We're in the process of it. We're moving forward to it. But it's so important to find that expectation, because I feel like a lot of business owners, they get so wrapped up in how they've done it. You said it earlier. Yeah, it's comfort. Well, this is how we've always done it. It's such a dangerous place to be, if for anybody, whether we're talking about marketing or anything. Right. If your answer is, well, that's just how we've always done it, it's time maybe to look at different avenues. But you get so comfortable in that, it's hard to look there. Yeah. But you've got to, you know, and you've got to find those different avenues, and you have to push it, and you have to learn to be fine with being uncomfortable. Yeah. And I feel like that's, in the banking world, that's a lot. Yeah.
I think something important is just like forecasting and kind of seeing, maybe you're not going to do it yet, but knowing that it's like ahead and like something that you and your organization can work for. So I just went through training with Kim, and she was kind of explaining to me, because I'm new, I'm a month in at the bank, and she's like, I just want to run through like how we operate, how we make money, this, that, and the other. And she was telling me a story that she was working at a bank and they didn't think that ATMs were going to catch on.
Sure.
ATMs are everywhere. Everyone uses them, and all of those banks went under. They didn't see that as a forethought or like something that they needed to start now and start saving. Like if you know that you need an app soon, maybe that's something in the back end that you're going to like start working towards, or have a goal in 5 years, and we need to have this because everyone else in the industry will have that by then.
I get such down the rabbit hole in the conversation of innovation, because there's so many of the easy ones. Obviously, like Yellow Cab should have been Uber, right? You know, Blockbuster should have been Netflix, right? It's kind of crazy to think the people that I didn't even realize this probably until I watched Frozen with my kids, but like literally how we got ice back in the day were these people called ice harvesters. And they would go to where frozen lakes were. They'd chop up this ice and bring it down to people. Hey, here's your ice. Those people should have invented freezers, or like the cooler, or like the igloo coolers. You know, you talk about that. And there's so many examples there. And it's just, I was listening to some podcast the other day, and some guy was like, it's crazy to think, but if you really look at how it's working, Netflix is already dead. And like, because the idea of Disney, they're like, shoot, we'll just start our own. Right. NBC, RIP to The Office on Netflix. And NBC just announced that we're starting our own in 2021, so The Office won't be on Netflix anymore. Which in my head, I was talking to someone about this morning. It's my dream. I remember being like 10 years old. It's stupid, but I remember it like being frustrated at the cost of cable. I also watched like Cheers on Saturday mornings as a 5-year-old. I was a weird kid. Okay. But that's fine. Like I remember being frustrated. Like the cable company is making you spend hundreds of dollars a month, and maybe you're watching 5 of those channels. Sure. So I'm like, oh, it's finally happening. Like a la carte cable is on the way through like these different streaming services, because you know Fox is going to get one. You know ABC is going to get one. All these different CBS, they're all going to have them, and you're going to have a smart TV. And if you want to watch a show on that channel, you're just going to click that button. Right. And like, there's an idea, like Netflix is already dead, because the power of those big news or channels, they're just going to take over all the content that's on Netflix that came from these networks. Networks are just going to have it all on theirs. So so you get really down the rabbit hole. Like who can think right now Netflix dead?
Yeah, it's
already.
kind of hard to think
It's hard to think about, but if you really look how things are going, it could be true. Yeah, it's
well, and we're living in a really interesting time in history because the growth that we're experiencing, I mean, we're literally living it as we interact with social media and as we bank online and as we use our chip cards to check out at the grocery store and all of these things. The rate of growth is happening, in my opinion, so exponentially fast. I don't know. I mean, this sounds like a really like bold statement, but I don't know in human history if anything has grown so quickly and people, whether you like it or you don't like it,
it's happening.
It's happening, and the people who don't like it are being forced to adapt, and whether they like it or not. And we also are living in a really interesting point in history where we have people who still have a lot of life left to live, who know life without the internet. They know what life was like without cell phones. They know what life was like when like credit cards were like super taboo and they only used cash. And, you know, for small business owners, especially small businesses that have been generational, like in my hometown, there was a bookstore that was on its third generation owner. You know, the way that the current business owner's grandpa conducted business, I don't know when that would have been, in the 1940s or something, is very different than the way that the bookstore is living and breathing and surviving right now. And the way that they market, which in the 1940s would have been word of mouth, excellent form of marketing, by the way, is totally different. And so small business owners who are adapting and forecasting and thinking ahead is invaluable.
Yeah. It kind of made me start thinking, just one thing that we've gotten a lot at Community First lately is, so we are expanding and we're in Hamilton County now. And that's not settling super well with some people. And a lot of people have asked
locally
me,
in Kokomo?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, both.
Interesting.
I know. So we get the question, Allison and I, a lot is, why are you building branches? Like, who goes into a branch anymore? I'm here to tell you that our lobbies are full, like all the time. So, but at the same time, yeah, we're going to build all these branches because that's part of who we are. That is our brand to the core, is we are in the community. You can come and see us. You can come and talk to us. However, we're still adapting and evolving with what's happening. And we have the online banking. We have the mobile app. Like, if you don't want to come and see us, you don't have to. We've got those avenues for you to kind of check into. And if you want to do banking that way, you can. But we're also going to be here if you do choose to walk through our doors and you want to have a conversation and you need help with something. So I think that's an interesting way that banking is going, because like I said earlier, there's banks online that you can do and you don't have to talk to a single soul. It's a machine, or you just type in a couple of answers to some questions and then you're done. But yeah, we kind of get that a lot. Like, why are you building branches? That doesn't make any sense. Well, we still believe that there's a niche there that of people that they're going to want to talk to somebody. Their situation doesn't fall within the 3 dots of a question on the internet. Like, they want to be able to come in and talk to us. So, but like I said, we're still trying to be innovative and have those online banking options and the mobile app and the ATMs and all that fun stuff. So.
Which I think that makes sense for your brand, because I mean, if you have a building that's such a presence in a community, it's blown my mind. We're at our new office 5-6 months, something like that. And our offices in the past have been not visible really. Yeah. We haven't really had like a physical presence somewhere. And it's blowing my mind what a freaking sign does.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just, people had no, it's nuts. We just celebrated 4 years and people are like, you have your own business? I'm like,
yes, I do. For 4 years.
Yeah. But like they didn't know until they saw a sign. Yeah. So, I mean, that physical presence is a lot, especially when big, you are focused on the word freaking community is in your name. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that means a lot to people. So it's interesting. But I mean, yeah, I mean, that could easily be argued, like the whole building more branches. But you're double downing on physical locations and having branches, but you're also double downing on the internet.
Yeah.
You know, if you were just doing branches, I'm like,
I don't know about that.
but like you're also being really intentional about the internet. And
Right.
I mean, you were saying like there's some people out there that love, like I answer 3 questions and I have a checking account. Yeah, there are people out there.
Yep.
And I'm just saying like Community First maybe should have that option for people that want that as well.
Right.
But if
Send
you
to
don't,
them.
yeah, you know, so I mean, it's just interesting, you know, you're trying to be as convenient as possible, but also being super present in the community by having buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like what Ray Kroc used to say with McDonald's. I'm not really in the hamburger business. I'm in the real estate business.
Yeah.
Like they have so many locations.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh,
you've gotten, I mean, really those buildings are investments, you know, as well. So
That's
And
true.
Stephanie and I were talking about this morning. Something that's odd about banks is we want everyone. We do not have one target customer. Everyone is a potential opportunity for us. And so it's trying to find how do we market to this certain segment. And then now we got to switch it up. So maybe print's best for one, and then maybe digital's best for another. And we have to be flexible and able to do all of it. Everything under the roof. We've got to kind of master and strategize.
Yeah.
yeah, which is, it's a difficult thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like breaking it down to different products or different people is definitely a good strategy to go there.
Yeah. So this question is for both of you. How have you seen some small success with your bank's marketing, or
Get
big
it?
success,
She said the name of the podcast, Small Success.
or big success, small or big success? And how do you celebrate that success when you have a marketing win?
So one of the things that I love about working at the bank is that this staff, all of us as a whole, we're like family. So we're really intentional about getting together as a staff. As we're basically doubling in size, so it's getting really out of hand, but it's still really fun. So we have like all these employee meetings. We do them about quarterly. We just get everyone together and we kind of talk about, hey, this is what this department's doing. This is what this department is doing. And we've got this event coming up, so we'll need help here and all this stuff. So at our last one that we did actually about a month ago, I got up and I just kind of told him, I said, because we have so many new faces and it's important for me to kind of communicate our overall vision and the community aspect of our bank. Just told people, you know, the marketing department technically consists of me and Allison. However, you are all part of the marketing team too. And I think that's really important for small businesses to say, is that it does not just fall on one person. It falls on everyone, because my tellers, they see customers all the time.
Yeah,
That's their
great
entire
point.
shift. My lenders go out and they meet with real estate agents. They meet with potential customers. They are marketing. They are representing us. So I think it's really important that we take those opportunities with our staff to kind of remind them that, hey, you're part of this too. It's an all team effort. And then we loved, like I said, we love to celebrate that. And that's with those employee meetings, because we also have, like, you know, food, entertainment, open bar, that kind of thing.
Wow.
I know, right? It's kind of fun.
Take note.
Yeah.
Right.
Noted.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love that kind of holistic thought approach to marketing. It doesn't begin and end with an online presence or
Right.
a print campaign or
Right,
whatever it
right.
may be. It also includes how your buildings look, feel, smell, how clean they are, how your employees interact with customers. Yeah, I love that. That's a great point.
Yeah. So, and I said that. I said I could put our name on every billboard in town, and then I could sponsor every program. I could put my ad in every newspaper and do all the things. And I said, but it won't mean anything if you guys don't help and if you guys don't have a part in this. And I don't want you guys to feel like it only falls on Allison and I. And if that ad didn't make it in that newspaper, then, oh, that's why it's not a success. Like, that can be really frustrating from a marketing perspective, but it's a whole group effort.
Yeah.
It really is. So you've got to be able to kind of instill that in your staff and let them know, like, this is a group effort. We're all going to work and do our best. So we try to provide all of our staff with just like the tools and best practices for how to market themselves and how to be representatives of the company. And then, yeah, any kind of success, like I think anything is a success with that. Like if they're like, yeah, hey, I had coffee with so and so, great, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Or hey, we closed this loan because so and so introduced me, I think that's even better. Like, you know, so I think it's just taking the small things and realizing that they can be huge for yourselves.
I think the 3 words, advertising, marketing, and branding, which we talk about this kind of like when we're educating people a lot, they get lumped together a lot. And a lot of small business owners, they just hear those 3 words and they think they're the same thing. So I've kind of like in my head, I've laid them out and they're 3 completely separate things. Advertising is really like the short game. It is a Facebook ad. It is an Instagram ad. It is a micro piece of content on a social media platform. It is a newspaper ad, radio ad. But it's like a short-term goal for a piece of content that you've created. Marketing to me, in my head, I define it as like any idea or action that a company has or takes and hopes to increase their overall brand. That's marketing to me. And it's kind of just what you were saying. It is how people answer the phone. It is how the teller says hi when I walk in. It is my online experience with your app or your website. It's all of those things. It's any idea or any action that a company takes and hopes to think, if we do this, people will think better of us. People will see our logo and have a better idea of who we are, or they like us more. And that's like the long game, because it's just every day, all day, every day. And then branding to me it's simply the game. You know, it's just what people think about you, you know, and it's all of those things are really important, but they all kind of play different roles all at the same time. But I mean, just to say that, because what you were saying, marketing is everyone's job.
It is, yeah. And I think it's important to realize that marketing is different than sales as well. So like marketing supports the sale, in my opinion. So I have a lot of sometimes some pushback and be like, well, that wasn't a success because you didn't market it right. Well, are you sure? Because you're the salesperson. You're supposed to follow through with that. So I think people kind of get mixed up on the sales and the marketing part too. But it's just, I think overall very important for everyone to realize that they are part of the marketing team. They may not have the marketing title but they are helping us and pushing us forward. So.
And like the world we're into, those sales and it keeps getting messier, that line between it.
So
because
messy.
you look at really, let's say e-commerce world, your website is your salesperson. Maybe a Facebook ad or Instagram ad is the marketing pushing it to there. The same way back in the day, a newspaper ad or an event would be push them towards to talk to a person, a salesperson. That ad, that intentional Facebook or Instagram ad, is the marketing person, pushes it to the salesperson, which is the face or the website, and the website's job is to convert them or to sell them.
Right.
So I mean, some people call it smarketing. Like e-commerce, it's sales and marketing put together. And that's an interesting thing as well, because those roles are getting smushed together the more that people are spending money online rather than inside, like a store or a brick and mortar prep place too. So
Right.
Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. I'm going to ask you a couple final wrap-up questions. With your experience in mind, what specific advice would you have for a small business owner? These could just be kind of best practices, tips and tricks, general marketing advice. We would love to get these gold nuggets of wisdom.
Okay, I'm going to do my best here. But my biggest thing is that you've got to be open and willing to learn. With marketing, it can't be just, this has always worked and this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to do anything else rather than this. It's got to be, I'm open to new ideas. I'm open to hearing what other people are doing. I mean, I'm constantly on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm looking up what other banks are doing.
Sure.
I'm looking up what other businesses not in banking are doing, because I want to see what is working for them, what is not working for them, and I want to take note of that. So I would say just don't be closed-minded and not think that other avenues could work. And I think also we've kind of hit on this a little bit, but if you don't have a designated marketing person, that doesn't mean that you don't know how, you can't market, and that you don't have time. You've got to schedule at least a little bit of time to dedicate to marketing. Even if you're running the business, you've got to, it can't just be all, I got to make money, I got to make money, I got to make money, I got to close this deal, do this deal. You got to work and try to gain more momentum. And you've got to carve out time to do your marketing. And if you don't have the time and you don't have the resources, find someone that can. Like Larissa Media has been really great for us as far as like doing some sponsored ads on social media when I just don't have the time to do those things. I can keep up with the day to day, but it's really great to have another resource that will help you in those times when you just don't have the mind frame to kind of go after those events that you need to market. So.
Yeah, that's great. Allison, any tips and tricks from you or advice for small business owners?
I think one of the coolest things about working at Community First so far for me has been no one has a bad idea. And so if you're kind of stuck in some predicament, or you don't know how to market a new product, or something's not working, they are so good about relying on their team. Stephanie will come to me and she has full trust in some advice or some insights. So if you're maybe not as intuitive with the online presence or something, ask someone on your staff and be so open to their advice and then trying it. So I think it's so fun working there because I'm just like, oh, let's try this. I trust that. Trust me, spending money on Adobe, I'll use it. Like, and she's like, okay,
that's what you want. Yeah, I think it's like I said, marketing is trial and error.
Yeah.
So you just you've got to be willing to kind of take those risks on and be like, okay, I'm going to try this. And okay, that wasn't really what I expected. That's not my result that I wanted. And move on. And it's okay. Fix it and try something new the next time. So that would be my biggest thing is like, just be open. That's what marketing is. There's no right or wrong way all the time.
I'm hearing a common, we say this inside all the time. Like I tell our team, we're basically what we are. People call us when we have titles of brand strategist or community specialist or operations and marketing whatever those are. But really the core of what we are is practitioners. Yeah. We are marketing practitioners. The same way a doctor is a medical practitioner that practices different medicines, pharmaceuticals, doses, all of those different things. We are that, but in the marketing and business world. We're supposed to be testing new strategies, different types of content, and always having that mindset that like, we're probably never going to get it perfect because that's a dangerous place to be because then you get comfortable again. But just always having that mindset of tweaking, testing new things, trying new things to always be better.
Yep.
And that's a good place for a marketer. And honestly, for any professional, person to be in is just, maybe you're a sales practitioner. Maybe you're an operations practitioner, and like your goal is to always be looking at processes and systems inside the business. And how could this be better? How could we add this level of it? Or how could we tweak this and be better? Having that mindset is a great place to be.
Yeah,
and just
never settle.
always, it's just, you're always uncomfortable, but you're good with being uncomfortable of trying to find what's next and what could be better.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And to me, like for the small business owner, that's the beauty and the fun of the internet is if you do take a marketing risk and it doesn't go so well, no one's going to see it in 48 hours. I mean, it's constantly moving and changing. And so your risk isn't huge unless you're spending a bunch of budget on a print campaign. You don't have a lot to lose.
Right.
And reminder, there is that edit feature. So if you have a typo or accidentally say something that you didn't intend to, you can fix it within seconds. So, okay, as we wrap up, and you are our inaugural guests, so we would love to ask every guest on the podcast this question. What is one small thing that you have done? This could be personally or professionally. What is one small thing that you've done that's contributed to your success?
So I'm a new mom. I have a 6-month-old baby girl, and she has totally changed my life and flipped it upside down and then spun it around like she's knocked my world
That
over.
will continue.
Yeah, I'm excited for the ride. However, it's really caused me to slow down, to realize that when I'm not in the office, I need to not be in the office. Mm-hmm. So really finding that work-life balance, I think, has been a big thing for me. And I have in no way, shape, or form perfected it. But my goal is that if I'm done at 5:00 and I don't have any events that night, I'm not going to look at my email. I'm not going to, if I haven't scheduled a post to go out on social media, then I ain't going to do one. I'm just going to totally disconnect and be with my family, be with my daughter, be with my husband, and focus on that. And then like when the weekends hit, I do the exact same thing. I try to just tune it out and not think about work. And I know that can be so hard for a lot of people. Like if you're running a business, you're constantly running your wheels and trying to figure out, okay, I got to do this and then I got to do that. But I have found that when I am intentional about my time and separating my work and my life, it really helps me to look at things more clearly. Like, so when Monday rolls around, I'm energized and I'm ready to go. And maybe I've got a different perspective on a problem that on Friday I could not figure out. So I would say just sometimes it's just really important to take a time out, disconnect yourself a little bit, because marketing it's a constant thing. Like when your job is to be on social media, you have to constantly be on social media. Like there's all these different components to it. But I think that when you just are intentional with your time to just stop, take a break, walk away, it can really do wonders for your productivity.
It's great. Allison, how about you?
I think mine's kind of close to Stephanie's. I think it's really good to re-energize yourself, to dive into something that you're passionate about. So one thing that I love doing is I like following other artists on Instagram. And so like maybe my day-to-day is making print ads or social media ads or posters or designing, and it might have a lot of like hard cut edges on it. Like it has to be this size, it has to have this feel, it has to promote this. But then in my off time, I get to see things that maybe I don't create day to day, and that can inspire me in my work. So maybe something that I create down the line has a different feel than what I would have every day, day after day, kind of create the same thing, and you kind of get into a rut, and then all of your content looks the same or it feels the same. And so I like being able to go out and get that inspiration from other artists or like Stephanie said, other businesses.
That's great. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for sharing kind of your tips and tricks and experience. Thanks so much for joining us and listening to this episode of the Small Success Podcast. We're so glad you're here. For more info and details and pull quotes from this podcast, check out our website, larissamedia.com.